Welcome to another edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at indiancountrynews.com. Here's the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. A federal judge has thrown out a lawsuit filed by the Arikara Apache Nation over how natural gas royalties paid to the tribe are calculated. The Northwest New Mexico tribe filed suit in 2007 in federal court in Washington, D.C. after the U.S. Interior Department changed how the royalties paid to the tribe by gas lessees are calculated. Court records show the Arikara Apache argued the change was arbitrary and departed from Interior Department precedents while violating the department's fiduciary duties toward the tribe. U.S. District Judge Richard Leone disagreed, saying the Interior Department explained in detail why it changed the calculation and followed the rule of law. Stephen Gordon, an attorney representing the Arikara on the case, said the tribe is studying the decision and has no further comment at this time. Another federal appeals court has rejected a Billings, Montana woman's claim that her rights were violated when the Crow tribe adopted a new constitution in 2001. Frances Harris, an enrolled member of the tribe, sued in U.S. District Court seeking to invalidate the 2001 tribal constitution because it eliminated a voting district for members who do not live on the reservation. Harris argued that this violated her rights under the U.S. Constitution. In 2007, federal magistrate Judge Carolyn Ostby in Billings, Montana, recommended the court grant a motion by the tribal defendants to dismiss the complaint on the basis that Harris had failed to exhaust her tribal court remedies. The lawsuit by Harris was one of several challenging the 2001 Crow Constitution. A panel of Nuclear Regulatory Commission judges in Nevada began meeting last month to decide who may take part in hearings on a federal plan to build a long-delayed national radioactive waste dump in Nevada. Representatives of several groups are making their cases for participating when the NRC begins a review of the Energy Department's application to build and operate the Yucca Mountain Repository, about 90 miles northwest of Las Vegas. The review could take up to 4 years. Applicants include the state of Nevada and California, 8 counties in the 2 states, 3 Native American groups, the Nuclear Energy Institute lobbying group, and a hot springs resort in the small town of Calienta, Nevada. Sierra Club organizer Jane Feldman led a group of about 10 protesters outside the building holding signs reading, "Nevada is not a wasteland," and calling for the federal government to drop its decades-long plan to build the Yucca Mountain project. Feldman noted the Obama administration's reversal of the Bush administration support for burying the nation's high-level nuclear waste at Yucca Mountain. Gila National Forest officials want tribes to claim Native American human remains and associated artifacts found on forest land in Grant and Cantron counties of southwestern New Mexico. A published legal notice says the remains of 48 people and items believed placed with the bodies came from the lands recognized as the homeland of the Arikara Apache. But that evidence shows that the Okama and Zuni pueblos in New Mexico and the Hopi tribe in Arizona have a stronger cultural relationship to the remains. The largest finds include remains of 20 people from a Grant County location that was a former Mogollon Indian site and 11 bodies and funeral objects from Diamond Creek in Catron County. The 90 or so students of the St. Paul Mission School on the Fort Belknap Reservation will have classroom space for the rest of the year. The business manager of the Great Falls Billings Diocese, Joseph Lomke, said April 1st the Alliance Bible Church in Hayes agreed to house the students for the final 38 school days and that classes resumed there April 2nd. The students and staff of the parochial school have twice been displaced by fire. Last June, the St. Paul Mission School was destroyed in an alleged act of arson, and on March 31st, the John Capture Center at Hayes, which had provided temporary classroom space, was heavily damaged in what appears to have been an accidental fire. A new St. Paul Mission School is presently under construction. Governor Sarah Palin's choice for Attorney General has been unanimously rejected by at least 2 Alaska Native groups. An Alaska Federation of Natives committee voted unanimously during April to oppose Wayne Anthony Ross. The AFN plans to send Palin a letter formally opposing the appointment of Ross, an outspoken opponent of giving rural residents a preference when it comes to subsistence fishing and hunting. Following that, the Association of Village Council Presidents voted to pass a resolution of its own rejecting Ross. The group represents Western Alaska villages. Ross described himself as pro-Constitution rather than anti-subsistence. State lawmakers have scheduled an April 16th confirmation vote for Palin's pick. Hoh tribal officials of Washington State have told a U.S. Senate Indian Affairs Committee hearing in Washington, D.C. that they have faced constant threats from floods and the Hoh River in Washington. Tribal Vice Chairman Jonette Reyes said this month that the tribe in Washington's coast needs 37 acres of National Park Service land near their reservation to help it relocate to higher ground. U.S. Senator Patty Murray introduced a bill in February to transfer park land to the tribe so it can connect its current reservation to private land it has already bought. The tiny reservation is hemmed in by the Hoh River, the Pacific Ocean, and the Olympic National Park. Most of the reservation is in a floodplain. U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell, the bill's co-sponsor, says the tribe deserves a safe place to live. The Trail of Tears Documentation Act was part of the massive Public Lands Management Act of 2009, which President Obama recently signed into law during March. About 400 miles of new trail will be added to the Trails of Tears National Historic Trail in Georgia alone. It's not entirely accurate to say that the Trail of Tears began in Tennessee, but that's been the public perception, said Jeff Bishop, president of the Georgia chapter of the Trails of Tears Association, a national nonprofit group that works with the Cherokee Nation, the Muskogee Nation, and the National Park Service to preserve, interpret, and promote the Trail of Tears National Historical Trail. In fact, more Cherokees were living in Georgia than anywhere else during the 1838 removal, said Bishop, and you could say that the Trail of Tears actually began at the doorstep of every Cherokee family. The Georgia chapter of TOTA was heavily involved in determining the location of the 15 fort and campsites used by troops during the removal across northern Georgia. The routes from these fort sites to detainment camps in Tennessee will be added to the Trails of Tears as feeder routes. The 25th Annual California Indian Market and Peace Powwow celebrating world cultures in Cinco de Mayo is coming up May 2nd and 3rd at the Mission San Juan Bautista. You'll find fine arts and crafts, dancers, drums, native food at the family-oriented public educational benefit. Donations benefit Peace Vision, a 501c3 youth art projects, and you can get more information at www.peacevision.net. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank our underwriters for helping with us on this broadcast and you for joining with us again. Thank you.